This video contains gratuitous use of profanity and uncomfortable pauses to compensate for lack of professionalism and original thought. Viewer discretion advised.
Live from Music City, we bring you the Nerdy Manroom Show with your host, Hassel and Monster. And this week we got a special guest host, the man of the hour, too sweet to be sour, the Tower of Power, Big Rob of Big Rob's House of Entertainment and No Chinese Food. Welcome aboard, sir.
I really appreciate you guys having me. I always love coming on the show. Anytime I'm feeling the least bit down, your introductions for me, I'm listening to it. I'm like, man, who is our special guest? I can't wait to meet this guy. And I'm like, oh, it's me. Wow, I'm going to be such a disappointment for you guys.
No way you could be disappointing, especially this episode. We knew we had to have you on. And for everybody out there, we talked last time we were going to start doing our favorite vehicles and play sets. And as we looked at that a little bit more, we found it too restricted to do that as one show. Decided to split it in two parts, but we needed more time to prepare because we were splitting it then. So we went to another one of our topics, which is going to be this week, is our favorite movie themes, our top 10 movie themes. And there's no way we could have done this without Big Rob involved in it, because Big Rob and Hassel do all the movie reviews. I just go watch them.
I will say this. You know how our fans say we got a drinking game, but every time I say fuck, they drink a fucking shot. So I say on this episode, not only that, you add, John Williams' name is mentioned, it's double shot.
That's going to be harsh because I will give a spoiler. That's almost about 70%, probably about 40% of my list.
Yeah,
I'm going to actually shock you guys. See, I went outside the box this time because I knew that, like our sponsor, the Zone Collectibles, 305 Main Street, Tifton, Georgia, you guys are going to have all my nerdy needs taken care of. So I did not pick not one of the major nerd franchises.
Wow.
And we've got a big show to get through all these because we do all have top 10. So before we do that, since you brought them up, let's go ahead and thank our sponsor, The Zone Collectibles. You can find them on the internet at thezonecollectibles@gmail.com and on Facebook at The Zone Collectibles, or as Hassel said, at 305 Main Street, Tifton, Georgia. Visit them for all your nerdy needs, from comics to Legos, trading cards, toys, games, and more. Help them support the local artist community by supporting their cause of bringing unity through community. Fandoms unite. And we said, since this was such a big topic, we were going to skip Geek Week this week. I'm going to share one thing, though, because this would have been one of Big Rob's tales from life on the road. That would have been fantastic to hear him tell it. But I'm going to share my experience last week with trying to travel, because I was caught in all the delays and cancellations, that stranded over, 100,000 people. It was like 4,000 people in one day. So my first flight out to leave town gets canceled as I'm at the airport waiting my bag to turn it in. They transfer me to a different airport an hour away. I finally get to that airport, make my flight, get to the next flight. It gets held up for an hour and a half because they had a fuel spill where they accidentally unhooked the hose when they were still fueling and it went everywhere. So they had to spend an hour and a half cleaning that up. That was on Monday. On the Friday coming back home, this is where it gets really interesting. I get to the airport for a 6:30 a.m. flight. So I've been up since 3 at this point because I had to get up, get ready, get to the airport before 4:30.
That's an ugly term, 3 a.m. Ooh.
Yeah. Get there. They say 10 minutes before they're supposed to load the plane, they're like, well, we're just waiting on the pilot to give us the okay to start loading you guys. This sounds like we're going to be delayed a little bit. Pilot comes out, talks to the person. I was like, oh, we're not going anywhere. The person behind the counter says, yeah, we're going to have to hold on just a little bit. Time for the plane to actually leave at 6:30. They're still standing there, and they come on intercom. Flight's delayed by 4 hours because of a mechanical issue on the plane. Then they wait about 30 more minutes, and people are already getting disgruntled because there's been a lot of cancellations. They come back on and say, okay, now it's actually 9 hours. It's like, what? Well, apparently, and I find this out later, they don't tell us this right then because they don't give you all that information. But I'm talking to one of the gate agents later, and they're like, Well, the whole story is that the plane had a mechanical issue when it came in last night. The airport mechanic actually worked on it and thinks he's got it fixed, but he's not certified on that, so he can't sign it off. The only person that can is a mechanic who is in Detroit, Michigan, and I'm in Scranton, Pennsylvania. That's an 8.5-hour drive. They're like, he's got to drive here. I was like, can't you just fly him? You're at the airport. They're like, unfortunately, no, he has to drive here, come fix the plane, sign off. Okay.
Wow.
So after they tell everybody it's a 9-hour delay, they start looking for people that are like, all right, we're going to take you guys in order, start bringing you up here, trying to reschedule your flight, get you something different. There's this one guy in the airport that's pissed off because he's missed 3 days worth of flights. And I get it. He's really mad. But he starts yelling over the lady on the intercom, we don't care. This is a bunch of bullshit. Just yelling. So she's like, sir, we're going to try to help you out. She's being nice. Well, I get in line. He's naturally in line right behind. Well, there's one couple behind me who were complaining, and he's right behind them talking to them, complaining really loud. All right, great. So they start calling us up there. He will not go to this lady because she comes back on the intercom again and says, hey, guys, we tried to get you another plane. Still no luck, so we are going to have to rebook everybody unless you want to sit here until 9 o'clock tonight. No, I don't. But this guy yells, we don't care. She said, sir, you got one more time. I'm calling TSA, and you will. She said, you will never fly on United again, and you won't be back in this airport ever again.
Wow.
So he's like, whatever, fine, I'm done. She calls next person up to come help. Well, naturally, that's me. So I go to her counter. The person at the third counter calls up the next folks, a couple behind me. The person next to her naturally calls the next one. Guess who it is? It's this dude again. He gets up there. And this lady's trying to help me. She's like, I can try to get you on a flight out of Philly, which is a 2-hour drive from where I am. I'm like, yeah, but how do I get there? She's like, oh, we'll pay for a cab to get you there. Okay. I'll take the flight out of Philly. So she's trying to book me on that, which doesn't work because it's completely full. Everything's sold out. The earliest flight I could have got was July 2nd, so I just went downstairs and rented a car and drove home the 9-hour drive to get home because I got tired of it. But anyway, back to the story. This dude decides when the folks next to him call him up, it's this young kid, and he's like, sir, I understand how bad it is. What can I do to help you? What are you looking for? You need compensation. You won't get refunded for your flight. You want to do something else. And the guy just starts yelling at him, and this lady's like, sir, you don't need to yell at him. He's like, he looks at her and says, I'm not talking to you, because she's already told him she's going to ban him from the airport. And he just goes off on her. It finally gets to the point, and anybody who knows me, I'm like, just leave me alone, let me do my own thing, I'll ignore everything else. But he finally got to the point, I was like, sir, they're just trying to help you. They don't have any control of this. It's an inconvenience. I know I'm in the same boat. Feel bad for you, but you don't have to yell at them. There's nothing they can do about it. So he takes a second, he looks at me like he's all stunned, like, I can't believe you took their side. Then he proceeds to tell me, well, why don't you just mind your own business? And the full Granny Marie came out. I couldn't hold it in anymore. And I swear to God, I sounded just like her when I said it. I said, well, I would really like to mind my own business, but your loud-ass mouth will not allow that to happen because you keep making your business my business. Now shut the hell up and let these people help you. And he looked like he wanted to say more. And finally, the manager of the airport walks over there. He's like, we'll take care of it. I was like, that's fine. I said, but he ain't going to yell at me today. I said, because I'm the last one you want to talk to today.
Not today.
But I was being nice to him, but he was just yelling at him. And the lady behind the counter was like, thank you. She said, I couldn't do anything else with him. I was like, whatever. I care less. I don't know him. But the full Granny Marie came out, and I was like, nope, not today. Can't do it. And I was being so polite, too. And I was getting to the point I was supposed to just start cussing him. I was like, nope, I've had enough. The David Jean subsided and the Granny Marie came out. I was like, nope, this is over with.
He was a stupid little man at that point.
Exactly. That's about what I wanted to call him too, because all he was doing was complaining because he wanted to go to Denver to see his brother, and he lives in California. He's like, he kept telling him, I just want to change my flight just to go home to California. I don't even want to go see him anymore. What good is one day going there going to be? And they're like, we can't do that. We can just refund you or book you on a flight to where your destination was. We don't have to. You have to call the corporate office for that. And he was just going, and I called the corporate folks. They refunded my flight, my baggage fees, and a couple other things. And the guy downstairs at the counter, when he gave me my luggage back, I said, so what number do I need to call? He said, call this phone number. He said, they're giving stuff away like candy right now. So if you call them and you just cuss them once, they're going to give you whatever you want. I was like, there's no need for that. I'll just call and tell them what I need. And he's like, you sure? He said, because if you cuss them, you're going to get a lot more.
How's
I was like,
in it?
I was like, he works for you guys. So that all in all, fun trip, which is part of the reason why we didn't get to do vehicles and playsets, because I did not have enough time after that 9-hour drive to resituate my my list. Because I was supposed to be home at 11 o'clock that day. I got home at 5:30, and I started at 3 in the morning.
See what happens when you don't take the corporate Cobra plane?
I never do because I don't get that option.
Had you took the night Rattler, you'd have been fine.
Maybe so. But with that, let's go straight to our focus topic now. Since I've wasted everybody's 10 minutes of our time, and we said we weren't even going to do Geek Week, but so we decided to do top 10 movie themes this week. Which thank you again, Big Rob, for coming on. We desperately needed you for this one because I know we will have some dissenting opinions on some of these. But as we always say when we do these lists, they are in no particular order. They're not ranked against each other. They just are top 10. Completely subjective. It's all about what we think fits in the top 10.
If you don't agree with us, we don't give a damn.
Well, I was going to say they could share their comments down if they didn't agree with us.
Please,
if they wanted to share their list or even expand on some of ours, please feel free to do so in the comments. But I think what we'll do for this one, since there's 3 of us, and to keep us moving quickly like we normally do, we'll go back and forth with our top 10. But if one of us has something the others share, maybe we'll chime in on it right then. So just to keep our list cut down a little bit, keep us moving faster. Same thing with honorable mentions, since I know we all probably have some of those too. If somebody mentions something in your honorable mentions, go ahead and mention it there, and then we'll just quickly delve through the honorable mentions at the end. But before we jump into the list, I think it's important for us to talk about what makes up the top movie themes for us and why they made the list. I mean, like for me, I feel like it's got to be something that's memorable. It's got to bring forth some kind of emotion or motivational or something of that. Something that evokes that into you and it's got to characterize whatever it's trying to display, whether it's a character or the plot of the movie or the ideal of the movie. But it also has to be instantly recognizable. Like if it comes on, you're like, oh, know exactly what it is.
Now, literally within a few, beats, you say, oh, shit, I know where we're at right now. And you visualize that movie or character or whatever, that's what we're driving home for.
Yeah. Yeah, and I just wanted to share that because I think if other people want to share their things or say why, maybe that's some of the precursor for them. But also the other thing we decided to do with this was it's not fully instrumental themes. Some of them may be and some of them may not be. But we talked about if it's not an instrumental one, it has to be a song that's not necessarily a pop song, or maybe it became a pop song because of the movie, but it has to relate to being part of the movie. For instance,
I think every one of mine was actually instrumental.
I think not one of mine was not fully. It has some lyrics to it, but I'm thinking, like Sound of Music or Ghostbusters. Those are themes that have lyrics to them, but they're strictly for the movie. If the movie hadn't existed, it would have entered pop culture. But no Titanic, My Heart Will Go On, or anything like that, or even Danger Zone from Top Gun, because those still could have been a song without those movies, right? So I think that was all the criteria we put on it. And since Big Rob is here as our guest, we're going to let him go first. Was there anything that I missed, guys?
All I know is fucking Kenny Loggins is stuck in my head right now. I'm in the fucking danger zone, guys.
That's the worst part of this recording. This one is every few minutes it's going to be a different song stuck in your head. And by the time it's done, whatever the last one you hear is, that's all you're going to hear for the rest of the evening.
Yeah.
Well, Big Rob, the floor is all yours, sir. What do you have first?
I appreciate that, and I will agree. I mean, the criteria that I picked on these, and again, no particular order for what I give out, but to me, it's the emotion. Like when you hear, like Hassel said, those first few beats, those first few bars, if it doesn't stir something, and I didn't put it on the list, it might be recognizable. But for me, I love movies. I am a movie fan.
Here.
And if it stirs something in me, that's made my list. So I actually was going to start with a different one, but since you've already mentioned it, one of the top 10 on my list was Ray Parker Jr.'s theme from Ghostbusters.
Who are you going to call?
I mean, you can today, that movie came back in the early 80s, and I realize we've had several sequels, but you can go up to a kid today, you go up to your niece and nephew, you say, who are you going to call? 9 times out of 10?
I'm a fat guy. I'm just saying. No, Ghostbusters every time.
I have an app for that, but sure.
So it did make my honorable mention as well, Al. The only reason it didn't is because I had to edge it out over some others. Edged it out of the list for my top 10, but it was on mine. And yeah, it's one of those that even though it has lyrics, which was one of the precursors at first, this one came up, and I was like, yeah, I can't leave that out.
Well, this time you hear that, it's just like, oh, we catching ghosts now. We're ready.
So, Hassel, what's your first one?
Well, I had to go with the king of all theme songs for me. And it's just, I don't know. It's one of those that within a few bars, you instantly know what it is. Time it comes across anywhere. And it's from an old movie. That's actually one that hasn't come out in, 30 years or maybe 35. But Godfather by Nino Rota.
That's a good one. I didn't even think about that.
Once you hear that right there, you're like, oh, shit, here we go. Like, it is instantly associates with the mafia. Instantly.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a good one too. I completely missed that one, I'll be honest with you. But when I first started my list, I had like 14, and I was like, all right, I got to cut something, and started cutting, and then I stopped adding anything else after that to try and move stuff around.
Well, I had to put everything I wanted in there. I'd probably been about a 20 something myself, but I tried to. I said, you know what? I know Monster and Big Rob's gonna have me covered. We'll get to talk about what I want to cover and get these in there. So.
Hey, I do want to mention, and I agree, that's an amazing theme. 51 years. Godfather came out too.
Okay.
Wow.
We're all old, okay?
I'm not that fucking old, though.
No.
It was a dated movie when I did remember being able to watch it, but yeah, it's still a masterpiece, though.
But it was a masterpiece, a classic, absolutely.
Yeah. So my first one, and the reason I said this earlier when we were talking about what makes someone is like it's got to evoke an emotional response, but this one actually is more of a motivational response because as soon as I hear it, I want to go work out even though I don't want to go work out, and that's Gonna Fly Now, the Rocky theme by Bill Conti.
You know what? I didn't have Gonna Fly Now, but I did have the initial, Rocky theme, that dun 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 dun.
That's the same. That's Gonna Fly Now. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and that one actually does have lyrics because after they get through the first round of the instrumental, they start singing "Gonna Fly Now."
For some reason, I always thought that part was a different song, but yeah, now that you say that, it correlates in my brain. It's been a long work week, folks. Don't judge me. So.
Hey, I know the feeling. I'm still recovering from travel, and the day off in the middle of the week was so weird.
Was Wednesday not the Mondayest Wednesday ever?
I woke up and I was
fucking
like, why do I have to go to work?
Yes. Like, terrible. I had to work Monday, off Tuesday, then work Wednesday.
I did the same.
It's brutal.
I can't say because I got this whole week off, but I felt like Monday coming up is going to.
Oh, yeah, you're in for it.
You'll pay for it there.
I'm sure.
So, Big Rob, what do you have for number 2?
Okay, so this was actually, even though no particular order, this is my number 1. And if you guys know me, you should know what it's going to be.
I have a feeling it's on my list.
Oh, well, probably. The main theme from Star Wars by Mr. John Williams.
Yep, that's on my list as well.
Folks.
I mean, listen, that one predates me, just like, Godfather. But I can't tell you how many times I've hummed along to that. I have that on LP. I have the CD. I have it on my Spotify playlist. And no matter where you go, it's so recognizable. It's not my ringtone because my ringtone's R2D2, but if it's your ringtone, you instantly know there's a fanboy somewhere. Somebody loves Star Wars.
Well, it's one of those themes that even people that aren't Star Wars fans, they know it. Like when they hear that initial kickoff, you're looking around, who's a Star Wars nerd? Us.
And not only that, but they take that theme and they play it in so many variations. Like the Binary Sun version of it for just Luke, and it's really just that same theme, just slowed down and supposed to be more innocent and noble and type stuff. So I mean, the way it's composed, it's made to be memorable. You will never forget that as soon as you hear it.
No,
like
it's stand the test of time.
Yeah. Yeah, and that one was on my list as well, so I will skip my next turn. So, Hassel, it's your turn again.
Well, for all you double shotters out there, we got another John Williams going here, and I got Jaws.
That was on my honorable mention. It fell off because I already had 4 John Williams songs. As for everybody, that's John Williams, John Williams, John Williams, John Williams. So I had to take the last John Williams and move it to the honorable mention.
That fucking song made me scared of the water. Do that dun 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 dun. You like this motherfucker out here somewhere?
Yeah. Yes, sir. And for everybody, I made that whole comment about John Williams multiple times just to make everybody drink a lot.
Hey,
because that was about 5 in a row with a 6.
Cheers.
Yeah, it was one of those that invoked a lot of emotion because it's like there's fear to that. Even though I'm not really scared of getting in the water, I'm like, I don't really want to go in the water now.
It will make you look around. I promise you, if you're at a beach somewhere and you're in the water, because your boy don't get out there more about chest deep. Which I'm a tall guy, so my chest deep and yours is different, but chest deep is about as far as your boy goes. You let somebody start singing Jaws out there, we're getting the hell out of the water.
We're going back.
I ain't got to say they've seen anything.
I'm fairly certain all of us could go past chest deep because I'm pretty sure we're all pretty buoyant.
I can probably go way the hell out there. However, I'm not. I
Won't
just
be able to get
I might
away
not make
fast
it
enough.
back. Because next thing I know, I'll be casting away. I might have in Europe somewhere.
That's fair. So Big Rob, what do you have next, sir?
So, just to get off the Don Williams train for a second.
Hey, see what you did there.
To another one that I consider a master, Danny Elfman with the Batman '89 theme.
Ooh, that is a great one.
So that one made my honorable mention too, and the only reason it ended up in honorable mention is because I had other superhero themes as well, and I was like, I got to move something, and that just lost out because I have one that trumps that one easily, and another one that is so ingrained in today's world that I couldn't.
I bet double or nothing. I know what the one is, but
probably so.
But there's something about that Batman theme there. It's like literally. When I went to the theater to watch Transformers, that was the first time I seen the Flash trailer on the big screen. And when they hit the few bars that they did with Keaton on there, I'm not gonna lie, the little 9-year-old kid in me like just geeked the fuck up. And I was excited for a movie that was apparently the drizzling shits. I hadn't seen it yet. I'm waiting on it to come on Max. When it started getting yanked from theaters, I'm like,
It'll be on TBS before it makes Max at this rate.
That's brutal, monster. Wow, shots fired. Pew, pew.
I will say, I took the kids and my sister to the Grand to watch The Flash because I like pain, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, watching that and the Grand sound system, the dialogue is a little quiet for me because I'm hard of hearing, but their bass is just jacked up. So every time Keaton shows up and they hit those bars, you're just like, oh yeah, your chair starts rattling a little bit. Or that may have been me just being so giddy because I seen Michael Keaton as Batman, but I'm kind of like bouncing around a little bit. I mean, it was pretty epic.
I guarantee it wasn't just.
No, I promise it wasn't.
I
figure I got a 73-inch TV. I can wait. I just watched Shazam 2 the other night, so literally,
which
I'm that far
wasn't
behind.
that bad.
It was actually very enjoyable. Very enjoyable.
And I got to bring, since you brought that up, the scene where they're riding the unicorns and the little girl takes the rainbow.
Yes. That little girl right there, she kind of makes the movie for me. I loved her character in the first one too, and then there was that part, and then the one with Pedro. He's like, they're all talking about their superheroes. He goes, "I'm gay." And they're like,
"We know, buddy.
We need, buddy." He's like, "Oh, you did?" I'm like, "Yeah, motherfucker."
But I would tell you that I went to a 4D theater to see The Flash. It's the RPX screen, so it's the IMAX screen, but it's got the moving seats and stuff. And man, every time they played the Batman music, it felt like they made the chairs rumble a little bit more than they did in any of the other action sequences.
Well, that's called putting respect on his fucking name, G.
Yeah. I'll give you that one. So that was... You just went, right, Rob? So Hassel, it's on you again, sir.
I had to go into the horror genre. I got Halloween from John Carpenter.
I had that as well.
Non-horror fans, they hear the first few, and they know instantly.
Yes. Yeah, I had that one as well because it does stand out, and like And when I was actually looking up some different ones on YouTube and stuff, just listening to some clips of them, just to remind myself to make sure, yeah, this is definitely one I want to do. Because after I made my list, I went back and listened to them. And I was like, yeah, definitely. But when I hit that one and it starts, and then somebody made the comments like, it's like the horror you feel when you hit pause and this music is still playing. I was like, that explains it very well.
Where's he at?
But I didn't realize John Carpenter actually composed that either.
Mm-hmm. He done the music for the first 3 Halloween movies. He actually even done that terrible techno shit from part 3 that, from the one that shall not be spoken of, which is far better still than the Halloween Ends by any stretch of the imagination. But yeah, he done the soundtrack for several of his movies.
Yeah.
Huh. I did not know that, but yeah, that one was on my list as well, because that's, for me, that's the only horror one I really, besides Jaws, if you consider Jaws horror, that's the only 2 that are really instantly recognize me from the horror genre. Like,
I have
others,
2 more,
others,
and I promise you'll be like, ah.
I might, but off the top of my head, I couldn't think of them, so that's why that one went out, because it popped in there instantly. But so since that was on my list as well, we are back to Big Rob again.
All right, so, and I will say, I could have done like a top 10 list just of John Williams. That's that, because like we said, that's so many of mine. But I'm going to go back to it, and I have not seen the new one, but the Indiana Jones theme. I mean, if you don't want to grab a bullwhip fedora and go chasing boulders and shit,
dude, I will tell you that song is so evocative of adventure stuff that when I'm packing for my work trips and stuff, I would just start singing that while I'm packing my bags, and when I'm walking to the airport, dun 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 dun.
Fair enough.
That was on my list as well, so you took another one off my list as well, Big Rob. But I would tell you, I did go watch the movie this weekend, and it was actually, I tell you, it was this week because I went on Tuesday because it's $5 Tuesdays, and it was 4th of July, and I was off, so we went that day. Very good movie, actually. I enjoyed it a lot. I won't say it was my favorite out of all of them, but it was on up there. Far better than the last one.
That's the general consensus I've got from people. I'm not an Indiana Joneser, to be honest. I don't know if it's one of the few fanboy franchises I just never got into. I vaguely remember watching the first 2, and I think I've seen the 3rd one once. Nothing stands out to me. You know what I'm saying? I didn't allure. It didn't draw young Hassel in. I could probably watch them now and enjoy them more than I did then. I'll put it that way.
I enjoy watching them, but like I can get very bored watching Raiders. Like it's kind of dated now, so it's hard for me to go back and watch it. I can still sit down and watch Temple of Doom, Last Crusade, and enjoy them. I didn't care much for Kingdom of the Crystal Skull just because I didn't really care for Shia LaBeouf's character, but luckily
I've heard a lot of people say he is kind of what turned them off from that movie. Is that a fair, assessment?
His characterization in the movie just was annoying.
And I don't dislike him. I actually really enjoyed him in the Transformers, movie, honestly. But our movies, the first few. But as an actor, he's all right. I mean,
yeah, kind of the same way. He just annoyed me in that movie for some reason. But with that, let's shift to the next movie. And Hassel, it's your turn again.
Well, I got. If I don't butcher this name here, I'll be doing something. The Good, the Bad, the Ugly by Ennio Marcioni.
Yep. That's on my list.
That's just iconic. You can't help but just be drawn into it. And people that aren't even Western fans, you know what that is. Like literally, I promise you, anybody could throw that theme out there.
Yeah.
Anytime I hear that, my hand automatically goes for the 6 gun that I'm not wearing. And I want that was on my list too. So you got me on that one, sir.
If you don't tip into your inner Clint Eastwood at that point, you're not living right.
Yeah. So I think that actually means, Hassel, you got to go again because you had Rob's next one, and my next one was tied with Rob's for Indy. So that's on you again, sir.
My next one is another horror theme, and it is Nightmare on Elm Street by Charles Bernstein, the original Nightmare on Elm Street.
See, I don't really. That one's not recognizable to me as easily. Just for me personally, yeah.
You just hear the first few keys of that piano. It's creepy as shit to me. It always has been, and it's just so to any horror fan, especially. But I mean, I don't know. I don't feel like you really had to be a horror fan to hear a few bars of that and not know what it is.
That one never resonated with me, but like I said, Michael Myers did, because it's the strokes of it did, and Jaws stands out. So,
well, I'll be honest, I don't really have a way to comment on that because I don't like horror movies. I've never seen it, the Nightmare or the Michael Myers movies, so I couldn't tell you what the songs sound like. But I'll take your word for it because you're Hassel.
So let's see, everybody. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 6 left. Is everybody else the same boat?
I have.
You might
4
be 5.
2 honorable mentions.
I have 5 left.
Okay, so yeah, so Rob will go. Actually, I need to go, and then Rob.
Yeah.
That way we would get caught up. All right, so my one that I had to put in is a John Williams one that trumps the Batman '89, then the Elfman, Superman. You can't deny the '78 Superman theme. That is the most heroic and noble sounding music for the most upstanding comic book superhero character to be. I mean, I can't explain it any other way, but that one can get stuck in your head very quickly. And as soon as it hits, you know instantly what it is.
Yeah. Like if you were looking for a Jim theme, that and Rocky, you just put those two on loop. Or maybe put in Cotton Eye Joe for Watson, but still.
And Rob, you were fixing to say something too. What were you saying?
No, I was just going to say that the fanfare is just like such a pure sound. Like that to me, that's what, because he's the world's largest Boy Scout. It's a purity, but that was absolutely on my list as well.
And it's one of those ones too that when it starts playing, there's certain ones that you can start skipping at a certain point. You have to listen to like the whole first verse of that one because it continues on, and you just can't just stop. You got to listen to it. Then you're like, okay, after the first verse, then I can start skipping it because it repeats the music. But for a while there, you can't go forward.
Everything about it screams truth, justice, the American way, and apple pie. Everything.
Yeah. So that leaves you, Rob, you said you had that one on your list. So that leaves you now with 4. And Hassel, you're at 4, and I think I have 5. So let me do one more, then we'll all be on the same. Again. So I had on my list, and I'll go ahead and finish off John Williams, so maybe we'll stop making everybody get drunk at this point, but I had Jurassic Park.
I knew that was going to make
honorable mention.
Yeah, that one just had it brings you into the movie. I mean, it's so inviting to it's going to this special place to see these extinct creatures and stuff. It pulls you in. You can't avoid that.
No.
But that gets us back on track now. So now it's actually Big Rob's turn, and we're back in the right order again.
So I will agree with that. I had that as one of my honorable mentions. But sadly for the drunks out there, I will one more John Williams. And I know it's not one of you guys' favorite, especially Hassel hates it, but the theme music, the song for the Harry Potter series, it's actually titled Hedwig's Theme. It's so, from a musical standpoint, it's so fucking magical.
It is. As much as I hate Potter, I will say that music is very, very, it transcends into pop culture and the things of this nature. And if you've ever been to Universal Studios, I am not a Potter guy, no stretch of imagination. But even me, go if you walk through the Potter alley and you see the big dragon on the top of the building up there. You drink your butterbeer. You see the fucking wheel. The wands. I'll say I can see is where someone that does enjoy the franchise, that's very magical to them.
And I'm not a huge fan of the movies because I was a huge fan of the books, and I think the movies, just like they normally do, cut way too much out. But to me, that music is just, it fits perfectly. It brings you into that fantasy world.
Yeah,
for me. And so for me, that's just one that it's iconic to me.
So you wasn't too much for the guy with the deviated nose system going.
No, not really.
Okay.
And I would say I am not a Harry Potter fan out of the books or the movies, but I will say that music almost made my honorable mention just because it does pull you into it. And it is, and John Williams is a genius for the way he makes it sound just like it truly sounds like it's magic. You know, it sounds like what you would hear from magic going on around you.
Yeah,
I can give you that.
So Hassel, what do you have next?
I had to go with the man himself, 007, James Bond by John Barry.
I had that as well.
Even if you're not a big Bonder, you know that music.
Yeah. Yeah, that one made my list. I debated on that one and a couple others about which one to put in, but I put that one in just because it's right there with a couple others that I had that ended up being honorable mentions.
So that was on my list as well, but you said John Barry. I had Monty Norman as the creator of the original James Bond theme. Which one are you going with?
Well, see, that was the thing. I actually, when I was researching, I run into a couple of various names there, and I tried to go as far back as I could to the original theme.
Yeah.
And I forget, I didn't document the site. I should have. But the site I went to had credited John Barry as the original theme for the dun dun dun. Because I know each movie had its own, but every one of them had that dun 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 dun.
So we all agree on the music, but we found different for different composers.
Yeah, and I found the same. I had multiple names. I had the one you had out, but I also had the one that Hassel had that was John Barry, and that's when I went every side I looked at it. That's the name that they try to promote the most, but it had like 3 or 4 other names as well. I was like, I'm not sure, so I'm just going to go with John
One of my
Barry.
honorable mentions is that way because of it's while it's a theme for that movie, it's actually a classical theme. And I found multiple names for it too, so I just kind of grabbed one. I'm hoping this is the right one.
Yeah. And since you had that one, and I think Big Rob and I both had that, so Rob, you got what, 2 left?
I do.
Hassel, you've got 3. I have 3 as well, so it'll be your turn again.
I had to go with the Back to the Future, Alan Silvestri.
That was on my list as well.
Me as well.
That one is just so memorable, and it's so upbeat for what it's supposed to be, because that's supposed to be like a more less of an action and more of an adventure movie, and that music just sounds like you're going on an adventure.
What's not to love about that saga, in the first 2 at least? Because you got Huey Lewis in the news, and then that theme. That's all you need.
Yeah.
And you got some Chuck Berry. You may not be ready, but your kids will love it.
Kids will love it.
Yeah, I love listening to it. I will, and actually, I actually still enjoy watching the third one too, even though it's not as good as the first 2.
I'll watch all 3, but if I have a choice, I'm going to probably go with 2 about every time.
Yeah, by far it was my favorite, but still the first one had the best. First one had the most cohesive and best plot line, but the second one was just more fun to watch, I felt like.
Yeah. Incest aside, I mean, I enjoy Game of Thrones too, so hey.
So I think this means that I'm going to move right on ahead before we get down a rabbit hole we shouldn't. I think that leaves us with Hassel. You've got one more, right?
I got 2.
You got 2? Okay. And Rob, you've got 1, right? Okay, so that's what it was. Rob's got 1, you've got 2, I've got 2. So that means you have to go again.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Dang it, you took my next one.
It's just, man, what do you say? Even if you're not a Pirates fan, you know it.
Yeah, that one stands out to me, and the beat to it
makes me want to drink rum. Just saying. Your boy might be a drunk, I'm just saying.
That's another.
But I will agree. Great song.
That's one of those that reminds me of Indy. Is like you can listen to it while you're going on a trip or doing something. You just be driving in the car.
It's one of those songs that several of these, like if you're in a depressed state of mind, you can just hear that song and kind of it'll put a smile on your face. You know what I'm saying? I mean, these songs, a lot of them to me invoke just joy. Something you've heard that song at some point in time. You've had a great memory, and they just, I don't know. They can kind of bring you out of a funk.
Yeah, I will agree on that. So that brings us down to everybody's last one of our top 10 before we get to honorable mentions. And I figured there was going to be a lot of bleed over between all of us, but there was a little more than I thought there was. But Rob, you're up first. What's your last one?
So this is my last one. It's not by any means the lowest, but Danny Elfman and his considerable tuba notes because the theme from Beetlejuice.
Oh man, how did I miss that one?
Yeah, I missed that completely
Wow.
too.
Cool points, Rob. Cool
I'm a
points.
simple man, bro. I love that music.
You got me on that one. I didn't even consider that one until you brought it up
Damn.
just now. Yeah.
How did that escape me? I almost feel like I should lose my nerd card at this point. Holy shit.
How does that, as a creepy comedy, how does that not strike you? The tuba notes just make it sound creepier than what it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got points on that one, Rob.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh,
Hello?
technical difficulties. Can you hear us?
Yeah, somehow or another I got disconnected, so I don't know what happened, but
You're good.
like literally I apologize everyone. My earphones they have a full charge, but they just decided to say fuck you today.
He bought them from Wish.
I actually bought them off Amazon about 4 years ago.
Oh, so they're just outdated, is what you're telling us.
Probably.
That's all right. These headphones are 2 years old and they're already outdated.
But he's that way sometimes.
But Hassel, that brings us to you for your last one.
My last one, I went back to the horror genre. I got Friday the 13th by Harry Manfredi.
See, I tried to look that one up because I couldn't remember what it sounded like, and I was trying to decide between that and Halloween, and I'm like, yeah, I still don't recognize it enough to pick it over Halloween.
It was pretty consistent amongst the first three movies. It was very, and then after that, they kind of played off of parts of it, beyond part three. But then first three movies, and then they just kind of sampled sections of it for the rest of the series, so to speak. But
Okay.
The first three, it's consistent, and I don't know, you just hear it and you say, "Oh shit, there's Jason. Where's the motherfucker
at?" That's a good one. My last one was The Avengers by Alan Silvestri.
Oh,
That
that's a good one.
and the way
It's a great.
What was that, Rob?
No, I just said it definitely is a great one.
Yeah, I had to choose that one because that's the scenes from the Avengers where they, from the first movie where they circle up and they play that full theme, or even when you go to the last movie where the portal's opening up and they start leading into it, and then they hit those notes from that, and I don't know, it's one of those ones, and listening to the movies too where they do the end credits and stuff and they slow it down and they speed it up and the multiple variations, it stands out. I just couldn't pass it up. I was like, yeah, that one's out of anything current day, in the last 5 years or so, that's probably the one that stands out.
It definitely, like, literally, like, as soon as you mentioned it, I heard me like dun 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 dun, and I was just like, shit.
So that gets us through all of our top tens, but I know we still got some honorable mentions too. So when we do the honorable mentions, I guess we could stay on each person first, and then we'll go to the others. But we can hit on what makes them cool and honorable as well. So, Rob, all on you, sir. You get to go first again.
I appreciate it. So we've knocked out a couple of mine, during the top 10, but I've got two left, and if it's okay with you, I'm gonna do them both together because they have, even though they're not similar movies, I have a similar story for both of them, in that they weren't the official theme to the movie that they were part of, but they're way more iconic than that movie's theme, and they have become synonymous, I guess, sort of. The first one is from the original Sam Raimi Spider-Man, the Aerosmith version of Spider-Man's theme. And the other one is from Highlander, Princes of the Universe by Queen.
Ooh,
Yeah.
who wants to live forever?
So both of those movies have theme songs. Spider-Man had a Danny Elfman, and Highlander had a Michael Kamen theme. But nobody knows what those sound like. I mean, well, the Spider-Man one. But those two songs, you hear either one of those, you think of the movie, in my opinion, at least.
The Highlander has such a great soundtrack. It's all done by Queen. It's great.
Amazing.
Yeah, both of those are good. I considered the Spider-Man one, but I was getting to so many superhero ones. I was like, I got to knock something off. And standing up against Superman or Batman '89 is kind of hard to pick that over either one of those. And I was looking at just a theme. I didn't go to the full Aerosmith version of Spider-Man.
It's just one that sticks in my head. You know, every so often, a couple times a year, it just those guitar riffs just blast through my head, and I'm just like, yeah.
I'll say the Sam Raimi Spider-Man version does. It did not the Aerosmith, but just the Sam Raimi trilogy Spider-Man thing. Just that really correlates.
It was Danny Elfman again.
Okay,
I agree.
Same one, John Williams.
He may show up again on somebody's list. But Hassel, what do you have for your honorable mentions?
I've got 2 honorable mentions, and the first one used to fucking terrify me as a child. I could hear this music, and it would scare the shit out of me. And it's the Exorcist theme, "The Tubular Bells" by Mike Oldfield. That's as far back as I could credit it, anyways. But you hear that theme right there, and that boy would just terrify the shit out of me. The only thing that scared me more was the Unsolved Mysteries theme. Either one of those two.
That one still scares me.
Yes. I just look for Ultra Magnus to be around the corner in a fucking, trench coat telling me somebody's finna get kidnapped by aliens. Booger Man. You don't never know. One of the two. But and my last honorable mention was Gone with the Wind, actually. Even that's just very stands the test of time. I mean, this movie's fucking, I don't know, 80 years old maybe.
Yeah,
it's old as fuck.
Probably know in a minute.
that theme, because I guess growing up they played it on TBS so much.
Yeah,
like, literally they would play it like for 24 hours in a row on TBS or TNT when we were kids. I remember just to me it like really stands out a lot. And my mom, for whatever reason, she would watch it every fucking time it come on. So
soon to be replaced on TBS by The Flash. Shots fired. My honorable mentions, I had I think 4 of them. First one, Pink Panther by Henry Mancini.
Oh.
You know instantly what it is. And I've never actually even watched the whole movie, but I still know what the music is.
I just remember from the cartoon, honestly, more than anything. I remember the movie vaguely, but the cartoon I used to love. I mean, time I hear that theme, I was like, oh, shit.
Oh, yeah, it'll get you.
Spectre Clouseau got no respect.
Mortal Kombat by the Immortals. Dun, 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 dun.
Who did not tap their foot to that in the 90s?
Did you not want to just get up and just start a fight in the middle of the room with somebody?
I've beat up my brothers and sisters that so many times. That come on, their ass was done for.
As soon as they hit that gong, that's
over.
Boom. I had Beverly Hills Cop by Harold Raltemeyer. I think I'm saying his name right. I'm not sure. But a
lot of people version better.
It is one of those that sticks in my head no matter what. I mean, I couldn't leave it out. It was hard not to even put it in my top 10 just because it stands out. But
that one there got by me. Wow, I'm a little ashamed of myself.
But I will say that if you're looking at like action movies or cop movies, yeah, Bond and stuff like that trumps this, but it still stands out. Oh. And my last one is one that I don't really, when it starts, I don't recognize it when it first starts because it's one of those that takes a while to build up to what I do recognize, but there's a part in the theme that as soon as you hear it, dun 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 dun, the Terminator.
No.
By Brad Fiedel. But the opening part of it is very slow and it's kind of very light orchestral. But then when it gets to the ba-dum, bum, ba-dum, you're like, okay, that's Terminator coming to kill me.
I don't know, dude. I mean, I can dig the whole thing. Like, I don't
dislike it.
It's all right now.
It's not that I dislike it by any means. It's just that part stands out to me.
I guess it's almost like part of the song is Sarah Connor, and part of the song is the T-800.
Yeah, and it's the part that's the T-800 that stands out to me. I'm like, ooh.
Like you got Sarah Connor there, but then you go into that, and then it's like Arnold's gonna fuck somebody up.
Yeah, the first
maybe
part,
not
like
John Williams, but he's gonna get somebody.
The first part, like you said, is the Sarah Connor, and it starts very slow, and then when it hits that, it's like, oh, we're getting into some stuff here. Something's fixing to happen.
I might watch T2 tonight now.
But that actually got us through the whole list, and it didn't take us as long as I thought it would. I figured we would be here for 2 days going through it because knowing how we like to talk about it.
It's not Biggles and play sets.
Well, it's not, but John Williams was involved, so.
He was.
But
that does bring us, the poor man.
That does bring us to the nerd out part of the show. So for anybody who hasn't been here with us before, this is where we ask random questions centered around the topics of the day, and we respond with little to no prep time. We will put ourselves on the spot here, so please feel free to expand upon our answers in the comments below if you want to, or provide your own answer to the question. And since Big Rob is the visitor here, we're going to let him go first.
Hey, if he's the visitor, is he going to peel off his fucking skin and be a lizard underneath?
I will.
I'm just curious.
First cousin, Mark Zuckerberg in my lizard self.
Maybe you just do that tongue thing. That look.
Ugh. So shockingly, I actually have a question prepared. I never have one because I always forget about it to the last second, but I do have a question.
Oh.
And so my question is this, is whenever we all make it big and we get that movie of the week made for us about the rise and fall of the Nerdy Manroom Show and Big Rob's
question, what network is carrying on movie of the week?
TBS.
No, we're going to be on free. No, Crackle's going to have it. It's a Crackle original.
Maybe FX.
All right. Long as I'm not on Tubi.
Joe Dirt 2, Beautiful Loser, it's good enough for Big Rob's House of Entertainment and no Chinese food. So, whenever the movie happens, who do you have from all, any of the ones that we mentioned or anybody else, who do you have compose your theme and why is it John Williams?
Wow.
I think Hassel has the answer first.
Wow. I don't know. I feel like, much as I want it to be John Williams, I can't have it be John Williams because John Williams is so iconic that he can't do Hassel justice. So without John Williams, I want to go with the cat. Whoever done like the soundtrack and movie music for the Kenny Powers show. I feel like that encapsulates the Hassel.
I was going to say John Carpenter.
Nothing is better than that scene where Kenny Powers takes the field in Mexico to Real American.
Yes.
And the flags around him, and he's, that's your boy.
No, so, you need the dude that used to. The dude that used to do all the WWE music, and I can't remember his name right now. They did so many.
Jim. Oh God Almighty! I know who you're talking about.
That should be who does your.
I can hear glass shattering. I'm gonna be honest.
I'm gonna be honest. I want John Williams to do mine, but I know that he is far too important to do mine, so I'm probably gonna get stuck with
John Williams.
Now,
somebody's really drunk right now. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, I don't know who would do mine. I want to say mine would probably end up being Alan Silvestri, just because I think that his style probably fits my stuff better, even though I would want it to be John Williams.
Gotcha.
But with that, Rob, who would do yours and why?
As much as again, I'm not anywhere near important enough for John Williams to do mine, and I'm not near important enough for him to do it either. But I want Danny Elfman to do mine because his stuff is just so 1 degree off. It's so offbeat that it just, I don't know. His stuff's just, even the dark gothic Batman stuff and Corpse Bride and all that, it's still just a half a degree or so off. And, me, I'm several degrees off, and I just felt like he could do something really good with mine.
I can see that. I would have said Danny Elfman for Hassel as well, just because it's a darker, it could be a little bit darker at times.
That's for his villain arc, anyway.
This is true. It happens.
So, Hassel, what is your question this week?
Well, Big Rob kind of like infringed upon mine. So mine is, what theme music, if you had control to where you put this in writing before you croak, and so they have to play theme music at your funeral, what theme music is played as they lower the casket for you? And why is John Williams composer?
he is the
Or not
composer.
John Williams.
He is the composer to mine, and since we're kind of been going in order, I'll go ahead and answer yours first, and then let Rob answer, and then you. But I would say Indiana Jones.
Okay.
Play my adventure theme as I'm being lowered to the ground. I'm going to the next great adventure. I would have said Star Wars, but I've already used that for one funeral.
Oh, that's terrible. Well,
I was waiting on Hassel to say something. He just let it go.
I still say we should have bribed that kid to give us control of the Bluetooth speaker at Hassel and Amy's.
You know what? I'd have been tickled.
You know what though? So let's before you answer Hassel's question, I'm gonna give you a separate question that's just for you and I to answer. What song would you have played through the Bluetooth on there for their wedding procession?
For them, Duel of the Fates.
I don't want Mortal Kombat.
Both very fitting. Very fitting.
Oh shit! So, me and Hassel have talked about this. That when at my funeral, he knows that the two songs that have to be played. Number one is Another One Bites the Dust by Queen, and the other one is Prop Me Up the Jukebox.
So we have it here on video. He is consenting to this. So when I do this and I'm that asshole, you people don't blame me. I'm carrying out a man's dying wishes.
We got to find somebody to do us an instrumental version of that.
Yeah, it might come off a little better that way.
Just to give that little bit of plausible deniability.
A little bit of classiness.
That my mom's over in the corner, little tears, and my sister's trying to console her. She's like,
they're going to look straight at me. They're going to know. I'm going to say it's that asshole right there. He done it.
Hey, you have full permission to play Indiana Jones in mine. I'm fine with that.
You guys see it. They crush me.
If we can find him, wherever he's at in the world,
Yeah. If ever, I don't have him shipped away on a secret mission.
Oh.
So, Rob, did you have any movie theme, or that was just your two that you wanted to answer Hassel's question?
Yeah, no. Honestly, I would love to have the Beetlejuice theme played just because, just in case.
I feel like if we do that, we got to all throw sand snakes into the casket.
Oh, yeah.
People throw roses, we'll throw sand snakes.
Have the urn sitting in the middle, and then all of a sudden it pops up and the sand snakes pop out like one of those. I
feel like there'll be some elderly person that have a heart attack, Rob. I'm gonna be honest. Now, that might be a little too over the top, even for us.
Never know.
I may have to throw my funeral before I die just so I can make sure it gets done right.
Goodness gracious. You people didn't think we were going this morbid today, did you?
Oh, you still got to answer the question, too, so there's no telling where this is going.
It's going to get good, folks. So, I have two. It's going to start with the Imperial March. Then it's going to shift into the song that Anakin used as he killed the younglings. We're going out with a bang, folks.
So, and on a side note, if this is ever Mr. Mitten's funeral, we're going to play Halloween because it put his decrepit hands up in the air at the coffin.
There's nothing worse than Mittens being behind you doing that around your shoulders. It's the creepiest shit ever. If you've never experienced this in life, you need to.
Oh, Lord. Oh, man. That was hard.
Riding down I-10 in the middle of the night trying to get to New Orleans, and just have those things just reach around.
Yeah. He's that way sometimes.
Oh, man.
Hey, you slept all the way back, though.
Yeah.
I able to do that to you.
Well, for my question, I had one, but I'm going to toss it aside and use a different one, and that's going to be what movie that he didn't already score would you have liked to have heard John Williams score?
Ooh.
Just to see what John Williams' score in that movie would sound like.
What? Tombstone.
Ooh.
That's an interesting one.
That's a great answer.
That is.
Wow.
I watched that not too long ago, too.
You have to. If it comes on, I don't care if it's like, if Doc is dying in the bed, I'm going to watch the rest of it. Is that great?
I was going to say Pee-wee's Big Adventure, but
Oh wow,
that was not a left field.
I
one
was out
there.
of the box, left lane. I'll be honest.
Man, I said I'd like to have heard how he would have done Batman '89.
Okay.
I think Danny Elfman was probably a better choice for that because he's a little darker with some of it. But I was curious to see what John Williams would have made Batman sound like.
You know what you got me thinking now, Monster? I'll be honest. That is kind of intriguing.
Be an interesting sound, that's for sure.
oh yeah.
But with that, I think that brings us almost to a close, guys. But before we leave, we need to give some shout out to some of our friends. Let's start with Mr. Wes Hartman, comic creator from DC and Marvel renown, and of course he's got his own Cosmic Roots imprint series. Studio with series like The Savage Sasqanaut. You can find him on Facebook at Cosmic Root Studio and on Instagram at The Sasqanaut and on his website, www.wes-hartman.com. Mr. Chris Daly, host of the Fueled by Weird podcast. You can find him on Instagram at Fueled by Weird and on his podcast, Fueled by Weird, wherever you find your podcast. And he'll discuss all things nerdy and weird and gives you some great book reviews on there as well.
I think he's got something really big coming up with Austin St. John, too.
I believe he does. I don't want to misstate any of it, so I'm not going to say what it was, but I did see that he has an interview coming up with him not too long from now, what it looked like. I'd say what date it is, but I don't remember, so I don't want to say it wrong.
That far into the details, I'm not really privy to, but it looked like he had something really interesting coming up.
Yeah. Our friend Diorama builder and toy customizer Seth Stafford, you can find him on Instagram at Trophy Hunter Toys. Our friend Mandy Lynn, a.k.a. Kushimama, you can find her on Instagram at Kushimama and on YouTube at Doodle's Toy Report and her new channel, The Collector's Sector. Check out some of our filmmaking friends, Mr. August Aguilar from Strange Film Studios. Their new project, The Gifted, is coming out pretty soon. I know that he's posted a short trailer on YouTube, so go check that out in anticipation. Mr. James B. Jefferson, creator of Warrior Island, you can catch updates on his comic and movie adaptation on his website, Warrior Island. And since we have him here this week, I'm going to let Big Rob do his own shout out for his channel.
Me?
Yeah, that guy.
Me. Big Rob's House of Entertainment and no Chinese food.
Or
Ever.
horror movies.
Or horror comedies, but no horror movies.
And Big Rob puts out episodes almost on a weekly basis, pretty much, and they're usually about stories from life on the road that only Big Rob experiences.
Brain fart is so good just then.
Yep.
Road in a couple of months, so I hadn't had any road stories, so you know.
You still have very interesting stories and output. Some of your recent takes on different parts of life have been pretty interesting to watch as well. And your movie reviews have been entertaining. And we haven't seen a movie review in a little bit, so I'm wondering when one of those is coming back and what the next one's going to be. Maybe Rob's got a preview of what he wants to watch next.
You know what? What have you done, Tombstone? I'm just saying.
Maybe. I was actually thinking about doing that Gen 13 movie because I sat down the other night.
There you go.
But I don't know.
Who don't remember that Fairchild cover where it's the Janet Jackson pose?
I Googled that. There was a lot of fan service in that book. It was.
Was they not?
Intriguing.
Yes, there was. And since we're talking about a comic book, don't forget to check out our sponsor, These Own Collectibles. You can find them on the internet at theseowncollectibles@gmail.com and on Facebook at These Own Collectibles or in their store at 305 Main Street, Tifton, Georgia. Visit them for all your nerdy needs. Help them support the local artist community by supporting their cause of bringing unity through community. Fandoms unite. But Hassel, before we leave, tell everybody where they can find us at.
You can find us, first of all, on our sponsor, The Zone's channel, Spotlight Media, on Roku and Fire TV, because your boys have finally made it to app service. Hey! So we are on the Roku and the Fire TV. We are on YouTube at the Nerdy Manroom Show. Obviously, because you're watching us here, I hope you've liked, subscribed, and shared. Hit the bell to get all the updates, because we are, Monster, as they say, we're over 250, baby. We've hit our mark. So we're about to do our giveaway. You can find us on Instagram at the Nerdy Manroom Show. You can find us on Facebook at Hassel Hutchinson via the Nerdy Manroom Show and Twitter, Nerdy MR Show.
And speaking of our giveaway, make sure you keep an eye out on the channel and the coming days and coming weekend. We'll have more details on what we're doing for the giveaway. We were supposed to have them ready by this show, but travel issues kind of kept us from getting a chance to meet up and go over some of that.
We're also trying to put out some feelers to make this special. We don't want it to be the Decepticon from Transformers Part 1 going, ladies, man, use your 455. We don't want to do that. We want to make this personal. And we've got some feelers out, so hopefully we can make this a little special for you guys.
Yeah, so keep tuned. Probably within the next week or so, we'll have more details on what that actually is and how it's. We know what the giveaway is, but more details on the process of the giveaway, the final process for it. But with that brings us to a close. So join us here next time. We're going to begin our 2-part episode focused on favorite vehicles and play sets from the past. Until then, live nerdy and live your own theme.